And then we're back here again at the Institute for Culinary Arts, where we finished layering our baklava. So that's just about ready to go in the oven. But we're going to start a little honey sauce they're going to pour on there. Because we got to use this wonderful honey. Because
it's delicious. We'll tell you about it a little more later.
It's like magic. Okay, so basically it's just honey. Does it just look delicious? I want to just fill
it. You can eat it on its own, but
yeah, I want to fill a bathtub with it. And just swim around.
You don't have to swim.
I don't have to swim. I can just, I don't know, sit there.
Start eating all around.
Yeah, that'll be okay. So we got honey. We got a little bit of lemon juice.
Okay, to cut the sweet.
Yeah, a little bit of water. Whoops. Some sugar. If it wants to. You gotta have some sugar. And then butter, like we didn't add enough and they're ready.
You know, when you eat dessert, you don't think about fat.
Oh no. There's no fat in this. There is no fat in this dessert. Okay, so we're just gonna let that simmer for a couple of minutes or so. Just kind of let it bubble a little bit. And then we're just gonna add in a little bit of vanilla extract right at the end. So while that's bubbling along, we're gonna just talk about our delicious.
It is delicious.
I think I'm just gonna take this one home.
Baby numbers and GPS.
Sneaky people.
Yes.
So
yeah, go ahead. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So the sauce we're making is gonna go on to the finished baklava. So the baklava has been assembled, and we're about to put it out. Put it in the oven to bake. The baklava, usually before you bake it, you want to pre-score the baklava so that when you're done, the baklava, the filo dough will be really flaky. So you don't want to cut it then because then it will be all shattered. But if you pre-score it, then you can cut along the dotted line at the end and you won't crack it. So you basically use a sharp paring knife, and you just want to cut through the top layer of the filo dough. You don't have to cut all the way down. So push it in a little so you make sure that you cut through to the top.
Because the butter is just making it stick, so cutting it's super easy.
So however you cut, it doesn't matter. Some traditionally is served diamond shape, so that's why I'm sort of cutting diagonally across the pan.
You're cutting like a pro.
If you're fussy, you can measure it, but I'm not that fussy. So then you go in the opposite direction to make it a little diamond shape. How big depends on what you plan to serve. If you're serving a lot to a lot of people, maybe you want to cut it smaller. But if it's just for your family, whatever size you want is fine.
I just take the whole thing, be a portion.
A big pie?
Yeah.
Figures.
I'm also a glutton.
Okay, so now it's 4, and you can. So one of the good thing about this is also you can make this way in advance and bake it off later if you don't have time. So now it's done. So you just put it directly into a 325, 350 oven. Oh, magic!
This is so magical.
Okay, so.
Oh, gosh golly.
Got one done. So
that cooked fast.
See how flaky it looks?
Looks delicious.
You did a good job.
Oh, I'm so proud. So how long does it need to bake for?
For that, we baked it maybe about 40-45 minutes in a 325 degree oven.
Beautiful.
You don't want it to bake at a too high temperature because you don't want the filo dough to be burned, get too dark. But notice it's now flaky, and if you can see through the cut edges, it has multiple layers, and the surface is golden brown.
And it's starting to retract from the sides a little bit, so
that's
it'll be... That's
usually signs that your things is done.
Beautiful.
So while that is still hot, what you want to do is then pour the hot sauce over it, and you want to do hot and hot so that the sauce soaks into the the baklava, and then you let it sit, let it cool down a bit before you eat.
Beautiful.
Or if you want to burn your mouth, you can dig right in.
That's one of my favorite hobbies, just burning my mouth.
So.
Okay, so the honey we're using, we got it out of our horticulture department. So it's all from last year's honey, so we harvested it just not too long ago. And like honey really just takes on the flavor of whatever the bees are kind of buzzing around with. So like
the flavor of this honey is very floral. It has a very floral note. There's a little citrusy note that's delicious. And it's very light. And you can tell it's light by the color of the honey also. So what you're saying is that depending on where you keep the bees, your honey will be different.
Exactly.
So it may be different also from year to year.
Totally.
We should keep the secret and use it only.
I got a secret stash.
Good, great. So
because like if they're just snatching pollen off of like tarragon and zucchini blossoms and stuff like that, like it's going to be a little bit different year to year. But like a lot of people, they can have one hive kind of clustered with a whole bunch of like basil plants or whatever it might be, and then you can see differences from hive to hive even.
Since our horticulture department they grow herbs and vegetables for us, and we also have flower all over. So if we choose to, we can put different colonies at different spots.
Yeah, it's very good having like fruit trees around as well, because like if you have apple trees and pear trees and stuff like that, like the bees will just help pollinate that, and you'll get more fruit, and it really just helps season the honey, so it can taste all sorts of fantastic.
I'm so curious to have some basil flavor in it.
Oh, it's so good.
Would be nice.
Yeah, because basil is already kind of sweet, so like it really just kind of makes sense. Like it's fantastic stuff.
Delicious to make different kinds of dessert.
Oh yeah. So we had our sauce bubbling here for a little bit. Basically, just want to make sure that all the sugar is dissolved and that there's no more crystals left in there. Then we just add a little bit of vanilla extract. Just a wee bit. You don't want to let it cook too far, because then it'll get kind of funky. But just kind of stir that in, and then we just ladle it all on there.
So how much syrup you want to put on is all matter of personal preference. Traditionally, in the Middle Eastern stores, restaurant, if you buy them, a piece of baklava will be sopping wet, dripping with syrup. Other people prefer dry baklava, so you just put in more or less syrup as you wish.
Yeah. Because like if you wanted to, like you can add sprinkle like some toasted nuts and whatever on top here too to kind of finish it. Oh, that's okay. You're nuts, Janet.
Let's keep that a secret.
Okay.
So while it's sitting, you let it sit for 5-10 minutes to just let it absorb.
Yeah.
And then since after that, you can then use a knife and cut through, and then you can take out individual pieces. Because
the honey sauce is just kind of get in between each layer and just help season the whole hoopla. So it's just a very, very easy dessert. Like the only thing that really takes time is just kind of building the layers.
Right. And but then like, if you have people helping you, it goes faster.
Like so I got you, Janet.
I thought I got you.
Oh, whichever way it goes. Yeah, one of those. But yeah, it's fantastic stuff, and I don't know. I'm just about ready to start eating some of this.
It's a great dessert for potluck parties and things, because you can build them as big or as small as you like.
And it's just very forgiving. Like it doesn't, like there's really no measurement that's gonna make or break it.
Right.
A little bit on the sauce, but barely. Magic.
Yeah. The important thing is make sure you butter each layer so to give you the flakiness that is characteristic of baklava.
Well, I think we're about ready to eat some cake and maybe do some shots of this little honey sauce.
Mix it with some alcohol, and you think that's delicious.
Well, we can make that
For
happen.
shots, I
We
mean.
can make that happen. Well, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out our website for the recipes for all this wonderful shenanigans. Thank you, Janet, for joining us today.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration as always.
I know.
So stay tuned for future episodes, and hope to see you guys again soon.